The ballroom was suffocating. Hundreds of champagne glasses tinkled like wind chimes in a storm, and the air was thick with expensive perfume and the flash of cameras. This was it, the 10th annual Man of the Year charity gala. And the Man of the Year, of course, was my husband. I watched him on stage, my husband, David Allen, the charismatic city councilman poised to be our next mayor. He was radiant, bathed in a golden spotlight, his smile so bright it could power the entire city. He looked over at me in the front row, and he gave me that special wink, the one he reserved just for me. Our moment, it said. I smiled back, a perfect, polished smile, holding my champagne flute. My hand wasn't shaking. I was proud of that. He thought this was his coronation. He had no idea it was his execution. I glanced to my left. My little sister, Sarah, was sitting beside me, beaming. She looked so proud, tears of joy in her eyes. "He's amazing, Elena," she whispered, squeezing my hand. I squeezed back. "Yes," I said, my voice like ice. "He is." David was about to start his speech. I discreetly looked at my phone, tucked under the table. 7 p.m., on the dot. I opened my messages to a contact named Ben. My fingers typed one simple message. "The files are live. Go." I hit send, locked my phone, and looked back up at the stage, my smile perfectly in place. David tapped the microphone. Thank you all so much." He began his speech, his voice booming with fake humility. But I wasn't listening. I was watching the back of the room. I was watching the clock. My text was sent. The trap was set. The reporter was here. The police were on their way. Now I just had to wait for the jaws to spring shut. To understand the look on his face when the police finally walked in, to understand the chaos that was about to unfold, you have to understand the real betrayal. It didn't start with the money. It started 6 months ago, with a faint smell of perfume. 6 months ago, I was the happiest woman in Atlanta. I had a perfect life. I was Elena Allen, the good wife of the city's golden boy, David Allen. He was the charming politician, and I was the beloved philanthropist, the founder of Haven, a high-profile children's charity. We were the power couple, the ones who had it all. My life was good. My work was meaningful. But the best part of my life, I thought, was my sister, Sarah. Sarah was my little sister, my shadow. Where I was focused, Sarah was adrift. She'd struggled, bounced between jobs, and had a knack for picking the wrong man. 2 years ago, she came to me, crying, saying she was about to be evicted. "I'm giving you a second chance, Sarah," I told her, hiring her as the bookkeeper for my charity. "Don't make me regret this." "I won't, Elena, I promise," she'd sobbed, hugging me. And she was good. She was meticulous, organized, and grateful. She became my right hand. I gave her full access, total trust. We had lunch every day. We were sisters, yes, but we were best friends. I would have trusted her with my life. And as it turned out, I did. The cracks started small. David was running for mayor, so the late nights were expected. The donor calls at all hours, the secret meetings. It was all part of the campaign. I tried to be the supportive wife, but he became distant, secretive. "Honey, you seem stressed," I'd say. "It's the campaign, Elena," he'd snap, not looking up from his phone. "I'm trying to win an election for us. The pressure is immense. Can you please just trust me and handle the home stuff?" He made me feel small. He made me feel like I was the problem, that I was distracting him. This is a classic gaslighting technique. Make the other person feel crazy for even asking. I backed off. I told myself he was right. I was just being needy. He was under pressure. I threw myself into the charity, into my work, into my friendship with Sarah. I trusted my husband, and I trusted my sister. That was my first mistake. The unraveling didn't happen all at once. It was a slow pull on a single thread, and that thread was perfume. It was a Tuesday. Sarah and I were in the office going over donations. I leaned in to look at a spreadsheet, and I smelled it, a new perfume. It was exquisite, deep, woody, with a hint of jasmine. It was also obscenely expensive, a $400 bottle of perfume. "Wow, Sarah, you smell amazing. Did you get a bonus?" Sarah blushed. She touched her neck. "Oh, this? It was a gift from that new guy I'm dating." "He must be serious," I said, smiling. "That's not a casual gift." She looked away. Yeah, he's great." I didn't think about it again. Not until Friday. David came home late, well past 2 a.m. I was asleep, but the smell of his suit jacket on the chair woke me up. It was that same perfume, that same rare $400 perfume. My heart stopped. I was in the kitchen, my hands shaking, when he came down for coffee the next morning. "David," I said, my voice casual, "you smelled amazing last night. What was that perfume?" He didn't blink. He just sipped his coffee. "Oh, I have no idea. I must have hugged a donor at the fundraiser. You know how those women bathe in that stuff." He laughed. "Why, jealous?" "No," I said, "just curious." A donor. A guy Sarah was dating. It was a coincidence. It had to be. But the unraveling had begun. The next thread was the bank alert. A month later, I was at my desk. An automated email from the charity's bank popped up. Subject: large sum transfer warning. I opened it. It was a standard fraud alert. "Dear Ms. Allen, this is to confirm a transfer of $50,000 from your organization's reserve fund to LLC Capital Ventures 30A. I had never heard of Capital Ventures 30A. The reserve fund was for emergencies only. It required 2 signatures to move, mine and Sarah's." "Sarah," I called out, my voice sharp. "Can you come in here? What is this transfer?" Sarah walked in. "What transfer?" I turned the monitor to her. "This $50,000 to Capital Ventures. Did you approve this? Did we get hacked?" She looked at the screen, and the color drained from her face. She looked for a second like a cornered animal. "Sarah?" She burst into tears, not soft crying, hysterical, body-racking sobs. "Sarah, what did you do?" "It wasn't me. It was David," she cried, collapsing into the chair. My blood turned to ice. "What?" "It was David," she sobbed. He needed to move some money, just for 48 hours. He's in trouble, Elena. A big developer is bribing him. He didn't know how to hide the money. He made me do it." I couldn't breathe. Bribing him, hide the money. "He said it was a political expense," she choked out. "He said it was just for a few days and then he'd put it back. He said if I didn't, the developer would go public and it would ruin the campaign." And then came the second knife, the one that actually killed me. Sarah grabbed my hands. Her hands were cold. "Please, Elena, you have to help us. If this comes out, I'll go to prison. I'm the bookkeeper. David promised he'd pay it all back. He's just ambitious. He's doing this for us, for the family. Us. The perfume, the late nights, the secret calls, the money. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't an affair. It wasn't a mistake. It was a conspiracy. My husband wasn't just cheating on me. He was cheating with my sister. And they weren't just stealing money. They were using my children's charity, my life's work, as their personal piggy bank to launder his bribe money. Sarah was still crying. "Please, Elena, you're the only one who can fix this. Please." She was looking at me, her face streaked with tears, but her eyes weren't scared. They were calculating. She wasn't confessing, she was recruiting. She was trying to gaslight me, to bully me, to scare me into becoming an accomplice too. I looked at the woman I'd saved, the woman I'd trusted with my life, and I felt something inside me snap. The old Elena, the good wife, she was a hard habit to break. She knew how to perform. I forced a look of shock, of sympathy. I stopped crying. I took a deep, shuddering breath. I stood up and got Sarah a bottle of water. My hands were shaking, but I hid it. "You're right, Sarah," I said. My voice was a hoarse whisper, which she mistook for sadness. We have to protect the family. You were right to tell me. This is a mess." She took the water, sniffling. You'll help? You'll talk to David?" "Of course," I said, and I pulled her into a hug. Her body was tense, but I made mine soft. "This stays between us. Don't tell David I know. Let me handle it. I'll figure out a way to fix this. I promise." She hugged me back, a little too tight. "Thank you, Elena. I knew you'd understand. You're the best sister ever." I smiled, a dead, hollow smile. "I'll always protect you, Sarah. You're my sister." She left the office, relieved. She skipped almost. She thought I was a fool. She thought I was the same weak, sentimental Elena who would clean up her mess. She had no idea I wasn't protecting her. I was protecting my case. The moment the office door clicked shut, the mask shattered. My legs gave out. I stumbled, catching myself on the desk. I made it to my private bathroom just in time. I collapsed in front of the toilet and was violently, wretchedly sick. I vomited until there was nothing left but dry, agonizing heaves. I slid to the cold tile floor, and I broke. This wasn't just crying. This was a primal, silent scream. The pain was physical. My husband and my sister. The two people I loved and trusted most, they hadn't just stabbed me in the back. They had set me on fire and were warming their hands by the flames. I sat there, on that cold floor, for an hour, maybe more. I let myself feel all of it. The humiliation, the rage, the absolute, bottomless grief. And then it stopped. The tears dried up. The shaking subsided. I looked up. I saw my reflection. My face was a wreck, puffy, streaked with mascara, pathetic. I stared at that broken woman, and I felt nothing, just a cold, sharp, terrifying calm. The old Elena died on that bathroom floor. The woman who stood up, she wasn't a wife or a sister. She was a general, and she was ready for war. I walked back into my office. I washed my face, my hands perfectly steady. I reapplied my lipstick. I sat down at my desk, and I made 2 calls. The first was to Alistair Thorne, the most ruthless criminal lawyer in the city. The second was to a forensic accountant he recommended. I met them that night at a discreet hotel. "They're not just sloppy, Ms. Allen," the accountant said. "They're arrogant. They're using your charity as a simple pass-through. The money comes in, sits for 3 days, and then goes out as a consulting fee to their shell company. It's wire fraud, money laundering, and racketeering. It's a 10-year felony, minimum." The lawyer, Alistair, nodded. "The problem is your sister will be the one who takes the fall. She's the bookkeeper. She's the one who signed off." "She's not the one I want," I said. My voice was flat, cold. "I want him." Alistair smiled. "Then we need the real books, the ones she's hiding, and we need to prove he directed her to do it." This is how we built the trap. First, I had to get Sarah out of the office. The next day I went to her. "Sarah, you look terrible," I said, all fake concern. "I've booked you a 3-day spa weekend, non-refundable, my treat. You need to get away." She cried with gratitude. She thought I was rewarding her. The second she left for the spa, my accountant and I descended on the office. It was a break-in. We found her real ledger hidden in a locked drawer. It was all there, a secret spreadsheet, the list of bribes, the dates, the offshore account numbers, and bonuses. Monthly payments to Sarah's personal account. The accountant whistled. "This is the smoking gun. This is the conspiracy. Now we just needed to tie it to David." My lawyer said, "We can take this to the DA, but politicians are slippery. He'll throw your sister under the bus and walk." "No," I said. "I know how to get him. He doesn't fear the DA. He fears the press. There's one reporter he hates, Ben Kessler, the one he can't control." Alistair looked at me. "That's risky. Public." "Good," I said. "I want it to be public. I want him to lose everything." So I found Ben Kessler. I sent him an anonymous email. "David Allen is not the man you think he is. I have proof, but I'll only give it to you if you do exactly what I say." Ben agreed. We built the final trap. We leaked the entire evidence package to Ben. The DA's office was ready. The final missing piece was a public, undeniable confession. David's Man of the Year gala was in 2 weeks. It was the perfect stage. My lawyer, Alistair, had one final brilliant idea. He said, "The police will be there, but we need to make sure he can't escape. We need to make his accomplice flip, publicly." He arranged it with the DA. They would arrest Sarah first, in front of everyone, to see who she was really loyal to. The plan was set. All I had to do was act. For 2 weeks, I was the perfect, loving, supportive wife. I helped David practice his speech. I helped him pick out his tuxedo. I even hosted a pre-gala party for him. He and Sarah would look at each other, sharing secret smiles, thinking they were the smartest people in the world. They thought I was their naive, foolish little puppet. They had no idea I was the one pulling all the strings. Which brings us back to the gala. The room is in chaos. Ben Kessler has just accused my husband of laundering $500,000. David is on stage, sputtering. "This is slander. I will sue you." "Is it slander, Mr. Allen?" Ben shouts, and he signals his team. The giant screen behind David flickers to life. And there it is. Not a video, a bank statement. The Haven Children's Charity, a transfer out for $50,000, a transfer in to Capital Ventures 30A. The next slide, the offshore account in the Cayman Islands. The next slide, the real ledger, showing bribe from developer X and bonus S. Allen. The room is silent. You can hear a pin drop. David is frozen. He looks like a statue. He's not even breathing. And then the main doors of the ballroom swing open. 2 uniformed police officers walk in. They're not running. They're walking, slowly, deliberately, past the tables, past the shocked donors. David is on stage, but the police walk right past the stage. They walk straight to the front row, to my sister. Sarah sees them coming. Her face, I will never forget her face. The color drains. She looks at David, her eyes screaming, "Do something!" David is paralyzed. One of the officers leans down. "Sarah Allen?" It's just Sarah," she whispers. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit wire fraud and embezzlement." The officer takes her arm, and Sarah snaps. She doesn't cry, she screams, a raw animal sound. She points a shaking finger at David. "He made me do it," she shrieks. "It was him. It was all him. He planned everything. He's the one. I have proof. I'll testify. He made me." And there it is, the public confession. The second detective just nods. He turns to David. He walks onto the stage. "Mr. Allen," he says, his voice calm, "you need to come with us." David finally moves. He drops the award. It hits the stage with a loud thud. He's not the golden boy anymore. He's just a common criminal. He is handcuffed on stage, in his tuxedo, as hundreds of cameras flash, capturing the Man of the Year being led away like a dog. He looks at me, one last time. His eyes, they finally understand. He sees the cold, calm smile on my face. He finally realizes, I did this. I just raised my champagne glass, as if in a toast. And I turned, and I walked away. The aftermath was exactly what you'd expect. It was a media firestorm. David and Sarah both went to prison. Sarah, for testifying against him, got a reduced sentence. David got the maximum. But the real victim was the charity. The Haven name was toxic. Donations dried up. The families we supported were about to be left with nothing. I held a press conference. I stood in front of those same reporters. What my husband and my sister did was a monstrous betrayal, I said. But the need is not gone. The children are not gone. That day, I put my house, my car, and every asset I shared with David up for sale. I liquidated my entire life, and I used every single penny to pay back the money they stole and to fund the charity's future. It was a gamble, but it worked. The city saw what I was doing, and the donations, they didn't just return, they tripled. Ben Kessler, the reporter, was there. After the press conference, he came up to me. "That was quite a story, Ms. Allen," he said. "Thank you for your help, Mr. Kessler." "It's Ben," he said. He looked awkward. I heard you're rebuilding the main office. I'm pretty good with a paintbrush, if you need help." I looked at him. Really looked at him. "I'll keep that in mind, Ben." That was 1 year ago. Today, the Haven charity is thriving. We're bigger than we ever were. I'm still the CEO, but my office is smaller, simpler. Ben did come and help me paint, and he stayed. It's not a flashy power couple life. It's real. We have dinner at home. We argue about politics. We laugh. I lost my husband, my sister, and my fortune, but I saved my life's work. I saved myself, and I found something honest. As my mother used to say, some people are the lesson, and the lesson I learned is this: you never, ever underestimate the good wife.